Greetings all and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to be making an alternative Seraphim for my battle sisters. The base model I'm going to be using is one of the Seraphim from the Combat Patrol box. With the body sorted, I'm going to start on the arms. Due to reasons, instead of using the sisters arms that came with it, I'm going to be using some of the sisters arms from the Novitiates kit. They are the same size and fit as the standard battle sisters, so they'll fit nicely to the body. This model I'm going to have with the dual flamers as an option. So I'm going to be using these here flame pistols from the Escher gang upgrade kit. I liked the slightly steampunk feel to these flamers, and they fit in with my preacher, which gives a bit of consistency across my army. The first thing to do here will be to take my cutters and snip off the auto pistol from that left arm, making sure to keep the hand intact and saving the pistol into my biz box. With that done, I can move on to the flamer, this time making sure not to damage the weapon, and after a quick tidy up of the cut areas with my knife, I can stick them together with some plastic glue, and her left arm is done. For the right arm, the one I'm going to be using is missing its hand, but luckily the Escher hand is a suitable size for a donor. Measuring it up by eye, I worked out that I could take a little off the sister's arm and then cut down the Escher arm to the cloth wrap around its wrist, and they would fit fairly well together. With that done, it is a simple case of adding some plastic glue and bringing the parts together. With that, both arms are done and they can be glued in place on the body. Now the next step for me is to add the backpack. However, I'm not going to be using the standard ones, so that little connection point on the model's back will need to be flattened out. An easy task for the clippers and knife combo. Now I envision my Seraphim as gliding in silently at night and unleashing their fury on those who would deny the God Emperor. And for that, the standard packs just don't do it for me. The wings on these Pteraxii, however, perfect for what I need. The rather large jet engines too would fit, as once they have glided silently in an open fire, they would want to get airborne again rather quickly, and need all the propulsion they can get. So I'm going to take and build the basics of one of the wing packs from the Pteraxii kit. With that pack built, I could compare it to the Seraphim body. The little tab where the pack joined the Admech body would get in the way of this. So, taking my clippers, I could trim it off, making sure to not only get a nice straight cut, but also to do so at an angle in which the pack would sit nicely on the sister's back. So, past Dan here used plastic glue to add the wings to the body. This was a grievous mistake, as we shall see soon, but for now I thought it would work, so I ploughed on ahead regardless. And speaking of heads, and bad transitions, the head I'm going to use is from the Celestian Sacresants. Now, the logic behind having a hood instead of a helmet whilst flying at high speed is utterly bonkers, but I really like the look of them, so the rule of cool won out, and with the trim up to the tab at the bottom of the head, it could be added with some plastic glue to the body. And now this is the point where past me realised my mistake. Her body and wings were far too wobbly with the plastic glue, so in slight annoyance I disconnected them. And here is what I should have done in the first place. Taking my drill, I can make a 1mm diameter hole a few millimeters deep in the pack, roughly where I cut off its tab earlier. I then drilled a matching hole onto the body. Into the hole on the pack, I inserted some 1mm wire dabbed in superglue and held it till it was well stuck in there. This was then cut to approximately the same length as the body hole was deep. Some more superglue added to the wire, and the plastic around the join area, and it could then be poked into the hole that was made on the body, making a nice strong join that won't just fall off if I sneeze on it. And with that, this twin flame pistol Seraphim is done. A lick of paint and a nice base later, and she is ready to join her sisters on the battlefield. But then, I did do some other weapon options on camera, so as a bonus I'll add them in too. For the squad leader's weapons, she can have a plasma pistol. Now the standard one would work fine, but in this case I wanted to give her this one here from the Saar gang kit. I felt that the little extra bit of plating around the front end would help conceal some of the flash as it goes off, or muffle the noise somewhat. I also like the stubby nature of it. To fit, however, I would need to make a back end to this weapon, as the Saar hand it had wouldn't go on and it didn't really work for me. So I'm going to use a donor bolt pistol that I had lying around. To begin with, I trimmed the back end of the plasma pistol to get rid of the little knobbly bit where it joined with the Saar arm, using my knife. After comparing the parts, I found that I would only really need the back bit above the hand area on the bolt pistol, so taking my knife again, I carefully cut it off, trying to make this cut as straight as possible. I also needed to take off a tiny notch at the top to allow for the shape of the plasma part. Again, done carefully with the knife. I almost got it in one, but noticed that I did have to shave off a bit around the inside of the plasma part again. But after this was tidied up, I could add some glue and stick the two parts together to form one finished plasma pistol. At this stage, I had dropped that tiny bit of bolt pistol about 4 times onto my floor and was hating everything, so giving the glue some time to set was real useful for my sanity here. A nice calming cup of tea later, I could come in with some plastic glue and attach the new plasma pistol to the pre-prepared hand of my squad leader. You may notice the mace here instead of a sword. Functionally, it will be sword rules, but the idea of trying to be stealthy with a giant glowing sword didn't sit right. So I went with the base from the Spire Tyrant's kit from the Warcry range. The head that she has is also from the same kit too. But wait, there's more. To keep in with the stealthy theme, I'm going to use this Necron Gauss Nastiness gun to make some silencers for the regular sisters' bolt pistols. Taking my clippers, I removed both of the tubes from the Necron gun and cleaned them up with my knife. I then used my knife to make a slight indent in one end of each of the tubes so that my drill could have an easier time gripping and staying where I wanted it. Putting that to one side for a moment, I can use my clippers to trim down both the bolt pistol barrels so that they're only a couple of millimeters long, and then tidy up my cuts with my knife. After this, it's just a case of adding some glue and attaching the new silencers to the front end of the pistols, making sure to line up the circle bits on the sides of them so that they don't look silly. And that's it. After all of them have been based and painted, here is the full squad of 5 Seraphim ready to swoop in and bring righteous fury to the enemies of man. As you can probably guess, I don't much like flight stands. They have their place, I guess, but personally, I try and avoid them. For these bases, I cut up a piece of the terrain in the Kill Team Chownath box, so they had some nice ruins to either be taking off from or alighting upon. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I really liked making these ladies, and can't wait to try them out in game, though I suspect my skills won't do them full justice. If you did enjoy the video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, as it really does help the channel grow. A massive thank you to all who watched, and all those who support the channel. So until next time, stay safe, and have a good one all.